Well, hello there, PHNX family. Welcome in to another edition of the D-Back Show right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montia. Of course, I'm your mayor of this joint. This guy over here helps me run things. He's my vice mayor. He's also the Thunderstick, Jesse Friedman.
It was delightful out there today, Derek.
It was
Reminded
delightful.
me of Washington. It's cloudy, drizzled a little bit.
Oh, he loved it. Yeah, he loves this weather. This is his kind of weather.
Lovely.
I still kind of hate how cold it was, but today it actually was kind of nice. It was just
pretty
cloudy,
nice.
Beautiful outside, of course. And we had baseball. It's always good to be around baseball, especially when you have all the position players reporting and all of these drills, all of this fun happening. You can really start to see the team taking shape, Of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Happy Fat Tuesday to all of you, by the way, for those of you that celebrate. By the way, I got the most drunk I've ever gotten in my entire life at a Fat Tuesdays once, and it was my wife's fault. So there you go.
Why is that story necessary?
Because it's Fat Tuesday.
Why did we need to know that?
I don't know. Because it's Fat Tuesday, and I just need to relate it to that. I bet you've never been in a Fat Tuesdays before in your life, I would imagine.
What is Fat Tuesday?
It's a bar.
Okay.
It's a bar. They serve a lot of frozen daiquiri drinks that are they're very dangerous. They taste like candy. And then next thing you know, you're blacked out, drunk, and you're yelling at a cop about how your wife gave you too much liquor. That's happens sometimes to the best of us, but it didn't happen today. And of course, I'm
good, Derek.
I'm fine today. Today's all right, but
not yet, at least.
He's right. I mean, there's still plenty of hours left in the day, right? Welcome on in, though, you guys. Of course, we are excited to bring you updates from D-Back Spring Camp, like we said. The position players were out there today. We got to see a bit more of them today than we did yesterday with the media availability with Ken Kendrick and Derek Hall. But it was kind of fun to see them running some of those drills. To me, I still find it amazing to see how basic and fundamental some of the drills that they require major league ball players to run at a camp like this.
Yeah, it's true. At the same time, we are starting to see like bits and pieces of real baseball. Like
definitely,
we saw Corbin Carroll face Zach Gallen today.
That was fun
in live BP, which was a lot of fun. That was kind of starting to happen on all the practice fields.
Correct.
So that was a lot of fun to see. And once again, it is a beautiful way to spend your Tuesday, coming out to Salt River Fields and experiencing it for yourself. So if you haven't gotten out there just yet, highly recommend you do so now that everyone's out there.
Yeah, because when you're out there as a fan and you go to see like the pitchers kind of doing their BP, you can't really see them that well where they're at versus where they kind of
I don't think pitchers do BP. Do pitchers take batting practice?
Bullpens?
Oh. I think BP pretty clearly stands for batting practice, not bullpen.
I'm supposed to. Ken Kendrick told me today to be nicer to you, Jesse, and you make it so hard. You make it so hard on me to follow his guidance. But
I'm just saying, I think it's pretty widely agreed upon that BP stands for batting practice, not bullpen. Damon, can you back me up on this? Yeah.
You're both wrong. You're both wrong. You're both ultimately wrong.
Sound like you know what you're talking about, Derek, which at times is very difficult to do. So
Did you not? You didn't even know what a Fat Tuesdays bar was less than 5 minutes ago. 4 minutes ago, you didn't know something, and now here you are attacking me.
Well, hey, we both learned something today.
No,
Derek.
I swear to God, I did not, because it's still going to be a bullpen session to me. I'm going to call it BP. I'll call it whatever I want. All right. Anyway, of course, the position players were out there. We got a chance to see the outfield that looks very exciting and bright, kind of all working out together. It was McCarthy, Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and Jake McCarthy. Right. So there was a lot of fun, like Jesse said, for fans to come out, take a look at all of the different kind of throughout the day, how it progresses from like literally Jordan Lawler hitting off of a tee in the morning to him taking live batting practice or BP off of a pitcher from his own team.
It is.
Later
That's
in
the
the
proper use of the acronym. I'm proud of you. The biggest story of the day is that Corbin Carroll and the Arizona Diamondbacks reportedly are exploring a potential contract extension, at least from the Diamondbacks side, that they have shown an openness to an extension with Corbin Carroll. That was reported by Nick Pecora last night, and that would be huge for this baseball team if the Diamondbacks are able to bring back Corbin Carroll. I mean, obviously he's already here for a while, right?
Bring him back.
Yeah, bring
him
him back.
Jesse?
Isn't even, that's not really the right phrase to be using, but
there's no way that the two of us are going to get locked in on this episode. I'm just warning you guys that right now it's going to be contentious, and like Elizabeth said, we are like an old married couple. This isn't going to change, but yeah, you're right. Corbin Carroll was he did not have a lot to say about it. He had no comment on the potential contract
we had
extension.
to ask Corbin Carroll about it in the clubhouse, but we got the answer we were expecting, which was pretty much there is nothing to talk about, and if there was, it wouldn't be it's not something I would be comfortable talking about. Which is, Corbin Carroll is clearly, taking some lessons in how to interact with the media, because that is a top-notch response for a situation like this from a young kid. But yeah, it's very much expected. He's not going to comment on this, and it doesn't sound like a deal is imminent. That was also part of Nick Picoro's report. No guarantees here, but the D-backs, I think, are very wise for exploring this as an option.
It's not only a positive thing, obviously, for Corbin Carroll. It's a positive thing for the rest of the team. It's a positive thing for the future of this team. Obviously, the Diamondbacks know how important it is to build this team through these prospects that are so highly touted right now by all of these analysts and experts in Major League Baseball, right? So they know that they are not going to be able to go out and compete with some of these teams. It's what Kendrick brought up in media availability as far as their path to success does not really go through free agency. It might go through trades, might go through some other avenues, but for the most part, it's going to go through acquiring young prospects and having them mature into superstars with this organization. It's realistic and it's understandable. We've seen this team spend a lot of money on free agents over the past 5 seasons plus, and to be honest, it hasn't really worked out for them. When you look at,
I don't know if I would say a lot of money on free agents, but
a lot of money on Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah,
let's say that, right?
There you go.
But of course, and Zach Greinke obviously worked out much better than Madison Bumgarner. So it's not like I don't want to lump the fact that they've overpaid for a few starting pitchers or paid high dollar amounts, if you don't want to say overpaid for a few pitchers. But it really does, I think, solidify the idea for them that that money they spent probably wasn't worth it by comparison to what, kind of production they might have been able to get out of cheaper options.
Yeah, I think that's fair. D-backs haven't done very well in free agency since Mike Hazen took over. I don't think there's really any questions about that. The Zach Greinke move is one of the best free agent moves, one of the best big free agent moves, really the only good big free agent move the Diamondbacks have made in quite a while. But that happened, before Mike Hazen and the current regime. Since Mike Hazen came over here, the D-backs have made some solid smaller deals, 1-year contracts, that kind of thing. They've done that, year after year after year. Some of those have worked out well. A lot of them haven't worked out well. And the big one, Madison Bumgarner, of course, has not worked out well at all. So it's not something the D-backs have done very well with of late. And that's why when you have a guy like Corbin Carroll in your organization, you try to not even let him reach free agency. You try to extend him. And that is going to be a huge key for the Diamondbacks moving forward, as a lot of these young, exciting players come up, is if these guys, prove themselves to be worthy, you should try to keep them in Arizona for as long as you possibly can. And
forever is basically.
And I don't think anyone even needs to see that much more from Corbin Carroll to get to that point almost. I mean, it's like, he was very good last year. You don't necessarily have any guarantees that he's going to maintain, 260, 330, 500. I think that was his batting line last year, which is really, really good. He might not maintain that, but also he doesn't really have to. Like with how much value he gives you on the bases and how good of a defender he is, the chance that Corbin Carroll is not at least an above average major league player at this point is very, very small. Like it kind of seems like it's even hard to imagine at this point. So the D-backs at least seem to already be in a place where they're willing to consider investing in a player that they've seen play for about 30 games. And I don't think any of us have any problem with that.
Not at all. Not at all. And at 30 games at a major league level, right? But I think what they've seen out of Carroll at a minor league level, it also very much confirms the fact that they want this guy to be in the organization for as long as possible, and that he's a special player. You don't get a chance to have a unique, talented player like this in your organization often without going out and acquiring them through free agency or having to spend a lot of money on them. I think it sends a message to the other young players that this team actually wants to take care of you. They want to value you and they want to keep you as part of the organization, right? It's in a way, it's kind of like what Josh Rojas talked about his conversation with Mike Hazen after their arbitration hearing. Arbitration sucks. We know it sucks. We know it sucks for both parties to kind of go through, but there was almost a newfound respect, I felt like, on both sides. And it meant a lot to Josh Rojas that Mike Hazen did the things that he did, right? And again, through your actions as an organization, sometimes you can show players that you care for them and you can give them a different feeling, even about something as horrible as arbitration, as long as you show them in the end that you care about them and they understand that this process is part of the business and not necessarily something personal like what we saw happen in Milwaukee. But like this Corbin Carroll contract extension, it's just one of those things that can show to the Drew Jones and to, you know, Brandon Pfaadt and the rest of the guys that have, you know, been talked about quite a bit this offseason as far as being top prospects within the organization. It shows them that they value it and that's something that could potentially lie ahead for you as well as a young player. The Diamondbacks extending your contract and keeping you around for a long time. It does bother me a little bit that we are talking about Corbin Carroll's contract extension being rumored or at least being discussed before we're talking about Zach Gallen's contract being extended, right? So that's something obviously that I'm sure is in the works as well or trying to be worked out, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that's not even possible, you know. I don't want to get on that. Like that's a whole other thing that's going to just make me sad.
You're going to just make everyone angry.
I know.
Derek.
That's what I'm trying to do.
This is supposed to be a happy podcast.
Well, it is because the Corbin
staying in Arizona.
That's fantastic, and I mean, of course, that's the big thing about it. But you know, it carries over to other guys, and I mean, it's other guys that we also want to see extended. We understand that this team has finally developed that young core. Corbin Carroll obviously being a part of it, but there are other parts as well that are just as critical, I think, and I would like to see, you know, the Diamondbacks kind of, you know, making that effort, you know, with those guys as well, like Gallen.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, Corbin Carroll would hit free agency at 28 years old, which is crazy, right? I mean, he's 22 right now, 6 years of team control, 28 years old, Corbin Carroll would be a free agent. That's pretty young to reach free agency, right? And it's a credit to how quickly Corbin Carroll moved through the Diamondback system despite the pandemic, despite the injury. I mean, it's mind-blowing how quickly he's made it to this point. But yeah, I mean, I think the fact that Corbin Carroll currently projects to be so young when he hits free agency makes a contract extension more plausible. Both from the D-back standpoint and from his standpoint. He knows that if he were to, you know, tack on 2 more years to his rookie deal, he still could hit free agency at 30, which is still reasonably young, right? We just saw a number of big name shortstops hit free agency around that age and do very, very well for themselves, right? So I do think that it makes a lot of sense, not only for the D-backs, but potentially for Corbin Carroll to lock in a couple of more years. When it's all said and done, would Corbin Carroll, you know, make money by signing an extension this early? Would he do well for himself, relatively speaking? Maybe not. The reality is that when players sign extensions this young, a lot of times they wind up leaving money on the table because they wind up proving that they're worth way more money than they signed for. But there is quite a bit of precedent with this. I mean, even in the past few years, this has become kind of more of a trend where teams try to lock up some of these young players before they've even played much, right? We've seen teams go to crazy lengths where they haven't even really seen a guy play in the big leagues, and they're already signing him to a contract extension. Last year, we saw Michael Harris, who ultimately won the National League Rookie of the Year award with the Atlanta Braves. He signed an 8-year, $72 million deal during the season last year. And then the other one we saw last year that was really big was Julio Rodriguez, who got a whopping $210 million guarantee from the Seattle Mariners. That deal can escalate up to $470 million. So,
God, that's
which is insane.
That's so much money.
For Corbin Carroll, I think it probably lies somewhere in between those two. Michael Harris had a phenomenal year, but I think Corbin Carroll's a little bit more of a prospect than Michael Harris was.
Sure. I agree.
But he's probably also not Julio Rodriguez. It's probably somewhere in between there. But granted, there's a lot of space between 72 million and 210. So where that puts Corbin Carroll's deal is a little bit hard to say at this point.
But I mean, I think it's realistic. I think the numbers that you kind of discussed there are right in the neighborhood of what we would see. I don't see Corbin. I feel like Corbin Carroll is a humble guy, but at the end of the day, I don't know how much of that is decided by Corbin Carroll, right? So you just like to see this deal happen, really, is what it is, because Carroll really is the most exciting player right now on this team. MLB.com and a number of outlets have already selected him to be the most exciting, productive player in 2023. And like Jesse said, that's with a really small sample size of like 30 games from last season. It's kind of wild how people feel about this guy. And I know we're excited. We get to see him every day. Like today, we were just commenting on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you check out on our Twitter account over at PHNX_D-backs, but his swing is just so beautiful. It's so smooth and it's so like effortless, but it looks like the swing you would aspire to have. It's incredible.
I mean, the crack of the bat, man.
No, it's something beautiful. It's something beautiful.
It sounds a little different off of Corbin Carroll's bat.
It really does.
From everyone else.
It hits differently. But speaking of the crack of the bat, we also got to see a Kristian Robinson sighting out at Salt River Fields today. And of course, he's been out there doing spring training workouts voluntarily. And his situation hasn't really progressed. We heard basically that there wasn't any updates in regards to his situation, but folks within the organization feel optimistic about him potentially getting this cleared up by the end of extended spring training. It remains to be seen if that happens. If you don't know, Kristian Robinson was at one time the top prospect, or at least one of the top prospects in the Diamondbacks
Depends
organization.
on who you ask. I think
Right.
some people did have him as the top prospect.
Yeah, he was the centerpiece of what should be the 2023 team. And now we're looking at, unfortunately, a guy who's still battling legal issues and has lost 3 years of his career due to a situation in 2020 where he was arrested for assaulting a law enforcement officer and charged with felony assault. There were some mental health issues that were also kind of discussed in regards to that situation, and he has complied with everything that he has been requested to do. He's still on probation. There were a couple of different ways where he could get back to playing for this team, but as it stands, he still hasn't had those situation, or hasn't had the legal issues kind of figured out yet. He's still on probation, which allows him to be at the facility working out like we saw today, but it limits his involvement with the team, and he's not even really considered a non-roster invitee. He's just someone, as I put to Jesse, he's someone there that can hit the ball much harder than we can. But if they let us go out there and take batting practice, I feel like we'd be basically in the same situation as he is right now, considering his future is still very murky with this team.
I mean, I don't know about you. I didn't get an invite to minor league camp, Derek. I don't know. Maybe you did somewhere. I don't think I got that.
You didn't get that email?
Yeah. Apparently, I didn't get that email. No, we did see Kristian Robinson take BP today. I'm just taking a shot at you from earlier.
I know. I remember. I was there.
Right,
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
But see, you're like laughing at your own joke, and that's what makes it really lame. And see, again, I can't even be nice to you. You make it so hard for me to be nice to you.
He took batting practice and off a pitching machine, at least from what we saw. And I mean, he hit the baseball very far on a few occasions. He also hit a few pop-ups. I think he got underneath a few of them. Always a little bit hard to read off of, a guy hitting off a pitching machine exactly what success or failure looks like in that situation.
Davison De Los Santos was just raking off of the pitching machine. Like the way that he was hitting the ball, he looked like the greatest baseball player of all time. So yeah, it can definitely be different. We also,
if only it was a pitching machine up there, not an actual pitcher.
If only. He also, Kristian Robinson didn't, I mean, being frank, he looked pretty thick. He looked pretty big. Didn't really look like he was in the shape that we see out of some of the other guys that have kind of come into camp ready to go. Now, obviously, his situation plays largely into that. I'm not suggesting that he's out of shape, but you could just tell like he is a much it's 3 years of his career lost, and I mean, you definitely hope that he can get back to a place where not only does he play baseball at a major league level, but can contribute to this organization and help them win baseball games. I just don't know at this point if it's actually gonna happen.
Yeah, my understanding is that like he's completed his probation period. He's just waiting for What we've kind of been waiting for is for the felony to be reduced to a misdemeanor.
Correct.
When that happens, he would be good to go. He also got married to an American citizen, so I think there's a path through his American citizenship that could potentially clear him as well. So it's either of those two routes. As of right now, there has been no progress, is our understanding. But like you said earlier, he can work out at Salt River Fields through the end of extended spring training into June, and then after that, he would sort of just be in limbo and not really have anywhere to go. So hopefully, this all gets resolved by then. His
last batting line was from 2019 with the Hillsboro Hops. He slashed 319, 407, 558 with a 966 OPS.
It's not bad.
Not too shabby.
I think didn't he get promoted that year as well?
To Kane County?
To Kane County.
Yep. Yeah. And his numbers didn't look quite as good there for sure. But overall in 2019, he still slashed 282, 368, 514.
Yeah.
Right. So
and he was 18 years old.
And he was
that
18
was his
years
age
old.
18
oh my God.
Yeah.
It's kind of what, honestly, I mean, I there's no other way to put it, but Kristian Robinson having the legal troubles that he has is really kind of the lost key to the, he should be he should have been part of last year's team, should have been part of this year's team at a major league level. And at this point, he should be, one of the main outfielders that we're discussing. Unfortunately, that's not the case for him at this point in his career.
I have a note on, this is wild. I have a note on my computer that I wrote in 2019. This is from November 2019. And the headline of the note that I wrote is Opening Day 2022. So what I envisioned the D-backs 2022 opening day lineup to be back in 2019.
Let's hear it.
Guess who's batting cleanup?
Kristian Robinson?
Kristian Robinson is batting cleanup.
Oh, my God.
Corbin Carroll is leading off and playing center field.
Let's
Ketel
go.
Marte is hitting second base. I'm
I
actually
like
tracking
this.
pretty good
This
so
is
far.
I'm on board.
I have Alec Thomas hitting third, playing left field.
Okay.
I don't know if you necessarily hit Alec Thomas third. I have Dalton Varsho hitting fifth.
Oh, now you made me sad.
I have Dalton Varsho playing third base.
Stupid
I'm not
idiot.
sure where
Third
exactly that
base.
came from.
Jesse was drinking that day.
Yeah, I mean, this was in late 2019 after Carson Kelly had a very, very good season.
True.
So I guess I had Carson Kelly catching. I had Seth Beer playing first base, and then I had Geraldo Perdomo playing shortstop. So
there you go.
Anyway,
there you go.
It is.
There's Jesse's prediction for the future, which
from 2019
wasn't too bad.
Wasn't
too bad.
Terrible.
I don't hate
terrible.
it. I don't hate it. And actually, you can get more from Jesse exactly like this, not without the sass, right? He doesn't give you the sass in the written newsletter, but
I sometimes give a little bit of sass in my newsletter.
Sometimes he steals my sass and puts it in his newsletter. But if you're a diehard member, you can get access to that full count newsletter from Jesse, as well as the wonderful writings from Craig, Gerald, all of our writers on here, Howard Balzer. You also get access to a free piece of merch from the PHNXlocker.com every year, as well as 20% off all future purchases. Members only merch, members only access to events, members only Discord lounge, the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. All sorts of benefits to being a diehard member. We want to thank those of you that already are. You guys are the best. We thank you so much. And also make sure to join us. That way you don't miss out on anything this guy has to say. If you're here right now on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, we thank you guys for being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever we go live. Leave us a thumbs up, and that's instant gratification for our self-esteem. Also, if you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcasting app, please subscribe to us there. Leave us a review. We always appreciate your feedback. And most importantly, find yourself some OGs. If you're arguing like Jesse and I are arguing, the best way to rectify that is to share some OGs with your spouse. That's what I suggest. And they have a wonderful variety of doses and strains for you to choose from. You can get them at your local dispensary, and they have the brand new strawberries and cream CBD to THC ratio, the Happy Balance. And of course, I got to do this in honor of Lindsay from the Suns episode today. Don't forget to bring a towel. That's for Lindsay. But of course, it's official. OG's new strawberries and cream Happy Balance gummies are live on the shelves. As always, you can find them at your local dispensary by checking out ogsbrands.com. Must be 21 or over to enjoy. And I love my friends at OG's. So shout out to them as always. But Jesse and I were taking a look at some of the, I guess you could say, scheduling conflicts potentially for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, one thing that Jesse did write about recently was the Arizona Diamondbacks' path to the playoffs in 2023. I know we're all hopeful. I know we're all getting to that point where we the season hasn't started yet. We haven't been beaten by the Dodgers or the Padres yet. We're very excited. Optimism is high. Glass is half empty or half full, not half empty yet. Jesse over here has some more reasonable expectations as to how this team might be able to get to the playoffs in 2023. But we don't know where they'll play should they reach the playoffs, because it sounds like Chase Field's all booked up. So
yeah, Salt River Fields. They could just
that's
play
right.
a
We'll just play playoff games over there, right? I mean, do scheduling conflicts in October mean anything now, Jesse? Should I be looking too deeply into this? Because I feel like this is an oversight.
What are these scheduling conflicts? What's happening?
The Arizona Diamondbacks announced today that the Guns and Roses, both will be playing at Chase Field on Wednesday, October 11th. And then 2 days before that, Pink is going to be at Chase Field on October 9th. And that is just, as you know, that's prime playoff season, Jesse. And I feel like
they move the concerts if they're in the playoffs?
Where are they going to move them to?
Maybe they move the concerts to Salt River Fields.
Is there 40,000 seats at that concert? No, I think we need more than that, because there's the floor seats, right?
If you stuff enough people onto the lawn area at Salt River Fields, you could totally fit 48,000.
The fire marshal is not going to like this. The fire marshal is going to hate him right now. But
you could fit 60,000 people, Derek. There's no limit.
Well, it was funny because Derek Hall brought this up the other day, and they were talking about we brought up Chase Field and possibly changing Chase Field, maybe taking out some of the seats because the capacity is entirely too big for the Diamondbacks. But like Hall brought up, I mean, it's not a problem when it comes to like an Elton John concert, right? Like I was there wasn't an empty seat in that entire house. So like they like it when it comes to the additional revenue that they can bring from events like this. But I have to ask if scheduling fucking concerts at your home stadium the first week of the playoffs is kind of a white flag already before the season has started.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've thought this through, right?
I'm sure,
right?
I don't know. You seem more competent than I am when it comes to that. I don't know. It's like they know they won't play, like, I don't know, home games.
I feel like, going back to your point about taking seats out of Chase Field real quick, we didn't talk about that yesterday.
We did not.
Derek Hall did bring that up, or I guess he was asked about it and he kind of addressed it. I personally think that the D-backs take on this does seem to be very much be like revenue driven. Like, yeah, we love having 48,000 seats when it comes to the events that we have there and whatnot. And I'm sure they gain more revenue from that. But from the perspective of the 98% of baseball games at Chase Field that don't come anywhere close to that capacity, frankly, it's not great having that many empty seats in that building. So I do somewhat get it. I mean, it would cost them money to remove seats. So it's like you're kind of paying to reduce your revenue from some of the events that you're having there. So from a business standpoint, I get it. But
they
I
also
think everyone can agree being at Chase Field would probably be better if there weren't so many seats.
Very true. But they also told us what they were looking at was some more premium options for season ticket holders and such. So when it comes to taking out seats, one thing we noticed when we were there the other day was that there was construction going on, and they were removing some seats from section 126, I believe. Damon, do we have that picture of that image? And what we found out after we were sent the image of the sign is it showed that section is being removed or being taken out to be a season ticket holder section where you can sit at a table. There's going to be like rolling chairs here and I guess a flat screen TV for you to watch the broadcast.
Rolling chairs.
Yeah, they're not going to be actual, they're not going to be stadium seats. They'll be like desk type chairs where you can kind of move around and have that freedom. And I know a lot of people like that. Like, none of us like sitting fucking elbow to elbow with people when we go to any kind of concert or event or anything. Nobody likes that. No one looks forward to being packed in like sardines at a sporting event.
They should make all of the seats at Chase Field
I fucking love it. Well, see, if it was up to you, they'd all be Chase lounges, and we know that. We're not even going to get into that. We don't have a more read today, so we're not getting into that.
I grant you that the footprint of a Chase lounge is a little bit too large to fit enough of them in a baseball stadium. But I will maintain that if we just had like 40,000 rolling chairs
it's kind of awesome,
at Chase
actually.
Field.
Yeah,
like people could move around. They could like do little dances. They could like do little, I don't know, like
rolling chair derbies.
Oh yeah,
oh my god,
yes,
I'm on board. You got me on board. I am on board with this now. But back to the scheduling conflicts. Obviously, What is the deal, Jesse? Do you think that this is
know.
just? I mean, what is the deal with it? Like,
it is a little confusing. I wouldn't be all that concerned about it. I'm sure that the Diamondbacks have determined that however those playoff games would go would not interfere. Maybe they have some sort of caveat built in where if there is some sort of a playoff conflict, then maybe these concerts would be moved elsewhere or rescheduled.
Just move days maybe.
Yeah, there's got to be something here because it is a little bit weird to schedule concerts at your baseball stadium right when the postseason. It's weird. It is a little weird. I will grant you that.
I feel like he wasn't on board at first, but he got on board as we went along here.
I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
it is. There's no way around it. I can't make any kind of argument around it.
We don't know what's going on in other stadiums, so there is very much the possibility that they've been giving particular dates that they can book because they know that they're not going to have, even if the playoffs should occur at that stadium, that they're not going to have, games on that date. It just seems so odd, and it didn't even seem that odd when Pink was the only concert announced, but it's like when Guns N' Roses gets announced, now it's like, you're just packing that week up, huh? We're just starting concert season early, I guess. I don't know, but I don't like it.
Surely if there was a playoff game, it would happen on the 10th. It wouldn't happen on the 9th or the 11th.
Or the 11th. He's right.
Yeah, they just know.
That's the way it works. So, but anyway, if you haven't had a chance to do so, make sure to go grab our friends at Underdog Fantasy's app. It's a wonderful app, and you can do daily fantasy sports differently. Forget playing a whole season. Just play one night against your friends. Beat up to 5 of your friends. Don't beat them up. I just mean you can beat up to 5 of your friends, and you can do that by drafting up to 6 players for any sport like NBA with no positional limits. And the more fantasy points you score, the more you have a chance to win against your friends. You can take home some cold, hard cash. They also have their pick'em game over at Underdog Fantasy, where you can pick higher or lower on a number of stats in different categories: rebounds, points, pitch counts. That's what we're riding on with MLB this season. So make sure to grab the Underdog Fantasy app, get ready for baseball season, and make sure that the more pick'ems you add, the more money you can win. It's easy to get started. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, sign up with promo code PHNX, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And also grab yourself some Four Peaks Brewing Company beer while you're at it. Hit up the Underdog Fantasy app with a brew in your hand. Shout out to all of my friends that enjoy adult beverages. Make sure to grab your favorite Four Peaks Brewing Company beer for so many sporting events in the month of February. So much stuff going on. And Four Peaks has you covered if you don't have enough going on yet. Make sure to check out their fourpeaks.com/events calendar for all your beer week entertainment. And honestly, what's better than drinking beer? Pairing them, of course. Excuse me. No, that's my bad on this one. But of course, make sure to go out to Four Peaks. They actually have coming up here, beer can derby on February 25th at Four Peaks 8th Street Pub in Tempe. Kit pickups are open now, so if you want to show us you got the fastest beer can in the valley, sign up through fourpeaks.com/events. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. And we will be entering a beer can into the beer can derby with this guy down here. What's up, Saul?
How's it going, everyone?
Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Is this my D-backs debut?
This is your D-backs debut.
Let's go.
I mean, awesome. You were basically on the show yesterday with all of the comments that you put into the chat.
Yeah, I believe in being interactive and supporting.
That's true.
The company. So.
I feel like that's a personal attack at one of us.
We were just tired of hearing from Saul in the chat, so we were like, let's just get him on the show, let him voice everything he wants to say. And
I mean, at least I'm participating in the chat.
He's right. And he participated by joining me at Chase Field on Saturday, going out to the most valuable party that the Diamondbacks had. It was essentially their replacement for the Fan Fest. They canceled Fan Fest. They had the most valuable party. It was very much like the Fan Fest without the bounce houses. So you know how disappointed I was about the lack of bounce houses. But I mean, Saul, we talked about this before. I mean, honestly, they wanted to reduce the number of people there because of the lines and to make it a more positive experience. And the lines to get players' autographs were ridiculous. So, I mean, I think that was an example of what they were trying to hopefully do, even though they were still very, very long.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal.
No,
it wasn't ideal, guys.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Listen, I'm very big on customer service and the fan experience.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what the Diamondbacks were trying to do, but it just was not executed very well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they really thought this through as much as they could have. And those lines, I walked, after I left you, I walked a whole lap around, and I just saw line after line that were just
right.
I mean, there were 2-3 hour wait lines. It looked like.
And I spoke to people that were waiting in those lines, and the one thing that they said was they had no idea what players were going to be there when they got to the back to get autographs.
They didn't put like
right?
a sign at the front.
They were
that you
told,
could tell what you were in line for.
But like what Saul's saying, the lines were so long that they were rotating players out. So even if there were certain guys that were there when you got in line, it wasn't a guarantee they were going to be there when you got up into the room where all the signing was going on. They didn't have any activity on the field. The field was off limits. They did have like a Q&A with players, like a little stage set up on field, but for the most part, there wasn't that same walking down on the field and being there. It was just walked around the concourse and such.
The biggest problem with the whole thing was, and I hope somebody from the Diamondbacks is watching this show, because apparently they do.
Apparently,
which is cool. and again, I've had nothing but great relationships with people in the organization, but we got to take this up a notch.
Yeah,
we got to take this up a notch. We got to stop. I don't know. The best way I could put it is just assuming that people are going to spend the money that they're required to spend to have season tickets, and especially close up. We got to make this more of an exclusive kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
You got to put more into it. You have to have there's got to be some pomp and circumstance to what you are doing to make it an exciting event. You can't just throw MVP events and make it feel like an exclusive, because me walking into those doors, there was nothing about being in that building that made me feel like this is special.
Yeah. We walked around the concourse, and after a while I didn't even know what I was doing.
Hell, you could have if you would have told me, don't look at the field, walk around the concourse, tell me what's going on, I could have told you, oh, is this like a preseason baseball game, or I don't know.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
right.
And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, it wasn't good.
Right.
And it's not good if you're trying to really push season ticket holders to really dedicate, first of all, the money for the tickets that they want. But a lot of people are wondering, oh, should I get 2 or should I get 4?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that small little difference can make a world of difference for your organization, especially when you're seeing what's going on with streaming rights and stuff.
Right. With streaming rights, with the lack of revenue that they're going to receive potentially because of the RSN situation. We also, we know that part of this event was to celebrate season ticket holders, but another part of it was to bring in new season ticket holders. There were special guests that were invited, and part of it was for them to kind of see the season ticket holder experience. We went down to the BMW lounge, and honestly, we know what it looks like during games. We know how the food, how great everything is, right? Like there's a buffet down there with all sorts of excellent food. For this event to try to appeal to new season ticket holders, they had like a nacho bar, and I'm not knocking it because as much as
you don't like nachos?
No, the nacho bar was great. They had guacamole, and that's really my main qualifier for it being a good.
With the word great today, I see. Okay.
There was guacamole, Saul.
No, but that's the thing. It's like it literally tried to wow people with a nacho bar and some bottles of water, and to be honest, it just wasn't the kind of thing you would expect from trying to acquire new season ticket holders and kind of blow them over with your hospitality.
When you look at the prices that they would like for you to purchase a season ticket at, to use said BMW lounge, there is nothing about that BMW lounge that makes me feel like, oh yeah, the money that I'm paying will be worth it if I'm a new season ticket buyer.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you think I'm going to spend $30, $40, $50, $60,000 to sit behind home plate for a season and get fucking nachos with beans in them?
Yeah.
No.
I'm so mad about the beans.
No. No. The beans don't belong in chili for nachos or hot dogs.
It was the second ingredient. But
you're
absolutely right. And I think there's something to be said about the Diamondbacks' focus. Like when they were talking about the new stadium or renovating Chase Field, whichever direction they go for the future, a big part of it was making a unique experience for people essentially that have the money to spend on like a season ticket or whatever, to give them more options for that kind of state of the art kind of season ticket holder options that other stadiums currently offer.
Jesse, what's the number one thing you would like to see change with either the experience in the ballpark or the ballpark itself?
The number one
if Ken Kendrick came walking through that door and said, Jesse, whatever you want, you get one choice, what is it?
at Chase? I mean, specifically at Chase Field, or could this be at a new stadium entirely?
Let's just keep it to Chase.
Keep it to Chase
because it's smarter for them.
That's
to stay
hard
at
for me
Chase.
because as I've said many times on this show, I think Chase Field it looks like an airplane hangar with a swimming pool, and I don't know if no matter what amenity you add, I think it's still gonna just be kind of a crappy place to see a baseball game in some ways, just because of the way that the building is constructed. But I don't know. I think like some sort of a like rooftop bar kind of a thing. I know they have some of that infrastructure built already, but that's something that seems to be a trend across basically every baseball stadium, at least the ones that I've been to, is they like to have areas where you stand and
party
kind of hang out.
Yeah, party deck. Yeah.
Rather than just all of the seats. And I think the D-backs are already aware of that, and they know that that's something that they should work on adding.
I shit you not, that's what I thought 126 was being turned into, because you could tell that they had taken out the stadium seats, and they kind of had this, like, it looked like they were going to put in standing kind of table areas where you could grab some food. People just don't
like currently, I don't think baseball fans always want to sit in their seats the entire game. Like people like to, like, especially Derek. If any of you have ever seen Derek at a baseball game, the man can't sit down for more than about 3 innings.
3 innings. That's saying a lot.
Tops.
1 inning.
Derek cannot sit in the press box for more than a few innings at a time. And there's a lot of people who go to a baseball game and are somewhat like that, right?
It's my favorite things about football footprint center since they've changed it is I will buy last row seats in section 225, and I will never sit in that seat because I will go stand at the bar in the midsection and mingle with people and watch the game and have a good time. And it's way better of just a vibe than sitting in your seats squished up next to two people with the wall behind you at Footprint Center.
I mean, understanding 1998 and the differences then and now, like there's a dramatic bit of difference in the last 25 years, obviously. But at the same time, like the fan experience to me at Chase Field, for an organization that, if you look around baseball and even sports in general, has been very applauded for their employee work environment, for that to not translate into the fan experience has been kind of surprising. And it's not that it's a bad fan experience. It just feels like the fan experience is almost an afterthought. You know, hot dogs are fucking whack as hell at Chase Field, unless
they're really cheap though.
Unless you go find some cheap, or unless they have the specialty dogs. It's like, okay, cool, but I want more than just a hot dog sometimes. And the spots that they have are just kind of like, man, they're just kind of
no. You're right.
Everything's just an afterthought. Yeah, and there's not really one specific thing that year in and year out you can always go to Chase and get.
Hungry Hill.
You know what I mean? You get out the Dodger dog. You got, crickets at freaking Safeco.
Yeah.
If they still have that. I don't know if they even call it
it's not Safeco anymore.
You know what I mean? But like there's regional things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's one specific regional thing that the Diamondbacks just refuse to embrace. And I don't understand why.
I mean, the churro dog.
No,
was
the
kind of a
Sonoran
thing.
dog.
The Sonoran dog.
The
Sonoran dog.
It's the Sonoran dog.
Yeah, fuck the churro dog.
It's the Sonoran dog. Like, you changed your colors to Sonoran red. Embrace it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they do have an area, like you said, with Sonoran dog, but like
it should be at every single,
all of the big dog, all the generic stands that they have that just have tenders and hot dogs and stuff. It should be all everywhere. I could agree with you completely. It's about embracing the culture, right?
If they're going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into this ballpark,
which they said they would.
They said they would.
They completely need to basically renovate the upper deck and take that out, if not completely. They need to renovate the lower bowl to where the sight lines, as somebody mentioned on in the chat, are way better for baseball.
Oh yeah.
And they just need to put in some padded seats. Yeah. Because those seats are uncomfortable.
I think that's the reason why. Like when we heard Derek Hall talk about this, there was, and I made the comparison. It's like fixing your car or buying a new one, right? Like it's way cheaper to fix your car, right? Potentially, but it's still going to break down. It's still going to have issues. There's a good chance you're going to end up spending more money on fixing that old car than buying a new one, right? The enthusiasm level was much different when he was talking about a new stadium versus fixing.
Here's the thought. We have a retractable roof and it's really cool. Awesome. Well, change that thing out and put a glass retractable roof. Now you got the sun coming in, still got nice cool temperatures. I need to put a shade over the top,
like
of
a
it
magnifying glass.
Yeah,
Someone's
yeah.
getting zapped. Someone's getting killed.
Just burning in the middle of the game, just fire. But like small little things. You know, like
no, you're right.
The pool is cool, and I guess that's the trademark of that stadium now, and the retractable roof.
Yeah.
But everybody has a retractable roof now, so that thing's played out. And the pool's like, meh.
Yeah.
Like, listen, it costs like $15,000 to go hang out at the pool.
Right.
How many people have actually done that? You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, the people I know that have done it have also said it's not a great view. Like you go to the pool not to watch the game. You're there to be at the pool at Chase Field,
it's like a bleacher seat. It's basically like having a bleacher seat, but you can watch from the swimming pool, which I guess is
better
cool.
than Milwaukee having a fucking slide, though. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't think they let fans down the slide.
Fans
don't get there. I know. That's even worse. Even worse.
You could pay $20,000 and you're still not going down the slide.
I'd pay every dime. The Diamondbacks do have some giveaway items that were announced that are pretty. I'm excited about them. Saul already hates the Father's Day shirt, and he hates all the Father's Day shirts. So you're not going to get good opinions out of him with that. But let's take a look at some of the items they've announced so far. We got the Gallon bobblehead. We have the Serpientes jersey. There's the famous Father's Day shirt over there. They do have the replica jerseys. This teal job. I like that teal baseball type shirt. That's the Mother's Day shirt. And then they have a tribal cap as well. But none of these matter because the most important giveaway item that the Arizona Diamondbacks are giving away this year is a fucking Star Wars Tatooine Haboob globe. I don't even know what it means, but I can't wait to get my hands on one. I mean, we're going to have a Star Wars night. Haboob. I'm a sucker for Haboob globes. What can I say? I love Haboob globes. But this is probably the best that we're going to get this year. I still wanted a WWE night after hearing that the Cubs have a WWE night. I'm very jealous of that.
Right.
See, okay,
let's go. What do you have to say?
I appreciate Star Wars. I do.
You're over it?
No. But what I would say is like there's certain things that I feel like we could have capitalized on, right?
Yeah.
I think what we could have done was a Haboob globe. Well, you know why the Haboob is so much more popular amongst Diamondbacks fans now than ever before? It's because of Pedro Gomez.
Sure.
And him
make
saying
it a baboon. A baboon
you know
globe?
I mean?
Is that
a
what
baboon globe
just with a baboon
with a Haboob coming through, and you donate all the proceeds to the Pedro Gomez Foundation. Hello, winner chicken dinner.
You're too good at this, Saul.
I'm just gonna
go. Right?
Saul hosts the D-backs show now.
I'm just saying, like, there's just so many opportunities to be able to capitalize on things throughout the year that I just feel like they just overlook sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's also not embracing their own little stuff, right? Like, where's a stupid Rat Leon stuffed animal or something, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of things in their history that they could have done.
I don't understand why we're shying away from what is us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, like, the only bobblehead we've seen is the Zach Gallen one. So it's like, where's some more bobbleheads? Are we going to get some more? I don't know. They're kind of rolling it out slowly. And I will say this, the Diamondbacks social media has kind of been incredible, but I don't know what happened to their most recent video talking about the giveaways because it just disappeared off of. It was like an infomercial where they had the number posted to call in and get tickets. It was great. It was honestly one of my favorite things that they've done, and they deleted it off their Twitter account, so I have no idea why. But
like a Young Ones or a Young Guns shirt with, and you're featuring some of the young prospects like Corbin Carroll and Lawler, and like
we don't have it pictured, but they have an anime shirt, anime night. I don't understand that. That's one thing.
Yeah, that's Merrill Kelly, Jake McCarthy, and Corbin Carroll
on an anime shirt.
Wait. What?
So they're drawn like Japanese anime.
I know,
characters.
but why Merrill Kelly and the other guy?
So Merrill Kelly pitched in Korea. Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll does have an Asian heritage. That's actually a thing.
And
Jake McCarthy.
But do we have to be so literal about this? Like, you can only be an anime character if you
played in Japan or
Korea. Like,
I want to know.
Feels kind of borderline.
How did Jake McCarthy end up there? I want to know how McCarthy ended up in that. Yeah,
That's
no, for
like,
sure.
He must have taken a vacation at some point.
He went for 2 weeks in 2019.
That's like. Oh, I can't say that part. That's like doing another rendition of Bebe's Kids. I'm like, hey, Saul, you're black. No, that doesn't mean I have to be on the shirt.
Right. Yeah, he's right. I get it. But I mean, of course, we've seen cooler that's the one thing that I was saying earlier. We see these really cool giveaway items that are unique to the cultures or the areas of, where the teams are located. It's such a stupid small thing for me, but Goya products in my Puerto Rican family is so important. So the fact that the Miami Marlins that are so integrated into the, like the Caribbean, Cuban, Puerto Rican,
Culture,
Dominican culture down there, the fact that they did a Goya shirt, that's their tropical shirt instead of like the Diamondbacks Father Day shirt, that just shows this being in touch with your community.
There's other ways and there's levels to be able to do something that recognizes and appreciates the heritage or ethnicity of a certain people, without making it too gimmicky.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like
a fucking luchador mask.
Yeah, like there's other ways to go about doing this that people will actually, for lack of a better word, and pardon my language, fuck with.
Yeah,
like yes, I want that.
Right.
I don't need a mask. I don't. Like, I'm never gonna wear it. It's hot as hell in the middle of the summer when you're trying to give this thing away. Why do I? What about this? Like, legitimately tells me that this is the way we need to go. Like, is there not another way to approach this that can really bring a lot more information and education to what it is that you're trying to bring up?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of just making it a giveaway, you need to think about these things more and be educated a lot more on what we're doing here. And that's, to me, that has so much more of an impact and goes so much further because those things are timeless. And they last a lot longer instead of just a throwaway giveaway one night.
Are you shitting? My Gonzo from the Muppets is one of my favorite things in life. It was one of my first giveaway items I've ever gotten from a baseball game. But it's Gonzo. I love the Muppets. I mean, like you said, there's just things sometimes that that made all the sense in the world, and and they did it, and it was awesome, and fucking I remember it to this day, and it was over 20 years ago that item was given away. So
you guys are just mad that they didn't have a bouncy house at the most.
That is party. Fucking exactly
I'm
right.
Pretty sure
you're right.
Yeah, bouncy house would have went hard.
They had Bouncy House City at Salt River Fields for months.
So now missed opportunity. Wow, you can write the ship, D-backs. You can write it. You just find somebody that will build you the most ridiculous, large bouncy house that will cover the entire thing of the field, right? Yeah. But the best part is it's an MVP exclusive, so season ticket holders only.
Okay.
And there's no roof, right? And then what do? On July 4th, you can jump with the fireworks. You let the fireworks go. People are jumping on the field. Oh my God.
Let's fucking go. I love it. Let's go. That's all I want now. That's all I want.
Oh, so much fun.
Just so long as the thing doesn't blow up during the fireworks.
It's not going to.
I'm too hyped now because of Saul. I'm too hyped. But anyway, thank you for joining us and giving your opinion on this stuff, because it really does. I mean, it really, from a fan perspective, I think these are things that we all think. There's frustrations out there. And honestly, I know, again, I know there was scheduling stuff. I know there's a lot of people in town. I know that the Fan Fest, they wanted to try to make it a more exclusive event. But one thing we didn't touch on was they still ended up inviting a bunch of people that were potential season ticket holders. And if you've ever shown any interest in being a season ticket holder, you were probably on a list. You might have gotten an invite and you probably came. I think that kind of defeated the purpose of them trying to keep that event small so that those lines that we talked about weren't so big.
I was going to bring that up. It kind of seemed like you can't have everyone there bring 4 guests and keep all the lines super short.
Exactly.
Like, it is certain you just can't have both of those things at the same time. So I don't know logistically, how do you fix the lines problem? I don't know if that's even possible.
If that's even possible, it's not. But at the same time too, there are ways, like maybe doing like groups, like you're there from 3 to 5, you guys are here from 12 to 2, that kind of thing, so that not everybody is there at the stadium at the same time in the same block.
This is the best way to go about doing that, right? You have the entire team available, not just 8 guys.
Yeah,
you have the entire team available, and it's the first 25 or 50 that get in said line, and then it's cut off.
Yeah,
and that's it. And it sucks that maybe you won't be able to get a Zach Gallen autograph because you love Zach Gallen. But that's just kind of part of the deal there. Like,
well, we've talked about the camp is a unique experience that not a lot of fans get to go in the same city where their team is and be able to go out to their camp, watch them practice, with how close you can get to these guys when you're out there watching, this stuff go on. And I mean, Cattell the other day, Cattell didn't stop signing. He went to everybody that wanted an autograph. Like, there was even a moment where I saw him kind of like check back, like, is everybody good? All right, I got everybody. Cool. And then he walked away, right? So it's like these guys are so willing to still sign for you out there at an event like this. And there's no lines. It's so much. You might have to wait 5 minutes for the guy to move down down the crowd to you, but they'll get to you, and you'll get, like, one guy had a bat that he was having Derek Hall sign, and Derek asked him, he was like, did everybody sign it for you? Like, he was making sure, like, he's like, yeah, man, I got everybody. This is incredible. And his kind of being his gratitude and the fact that Derek Hall signed and everything, but that is what's different about being a Diamondbacks fan here in Arizona. You have a different event. You have almost 2 weeks to go out and kind of stand out in the beautiful weather, see these guys practice, see these guys do these drills.
That is true.
And also still get to meet them and have an autograph and a picture with them. And you don't have to pay a dime. You know what I mean?
That's very true. That's a very good point.
And I think that's the thing to do. That's the move, in my opinion.
That is the one thing that we have over just about everybody else.
Yeah.
We because spring training is here, you have more accessibility to these players in spring training than just about any other franchise.
Yeah.
Really.
I think that's how the D-backs were able to justify doing this, making it more exclusive, because they're like, hey, fans can still go out and get access to players and whatnot.
It's not like we pack up and leave to Florida or Arizona.
That's fine. That's fine. However, you still got to execute.
Yeah.
And you got to execute at a high level.
Especially when the intent is to bring in new season ticket holders.
And what I was going to say earlier is like, stop trying to be something that you're not, and really understand and embrace your community and embrace what this fan base is all about and some of the things that make Arizona great itself, and really expand on that is kind of the, that's kind of the justification for what everything that I was trying to say today is just like, listen, it's cool that everybody else is on the Star Wars trend. You don't have to do it.
Right.
You can find a different way to get across, even though Star Wars is dope.
I'm so tired of
Jesse,
Star Wars
you
night.
should have seen
So
Jesse
dumb.
saw my reaction to finding out the Cubs had a WWE night. I legitimately lost my shit in so many different ways because, yes, like, obviously I'm a wrestling fan, but the fact that you could do different things like that, it's like, baseball is so about, at times, everybody doing this, all the teams doing the same thing. And that is the biggest bullshit, right? So, like, the fact that Star Wars night went from being like this kind of thing some teams did to just kind of being a standard that every ballpark had to do across, baseball is the kind of thing that makes it not special.
Also, before I do go, I definitely want to say this. I did call Zach Gallen out for you, Jesse, when I saw him in the MVP lounge for calling you Finks.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And Zach, I just want to let you know, if you ever say that again and you don't say sorry, I'm going to step on your Jordans. I'm just going to step on your Jordans.
Oh my God. I want to be there.
I think it's pretty funny that he says Sphinx.
Yeah, but he wants us to change it to Sphinx, and that's a whole other thing.
No.
That's
It's
where it fucking crosses
PHNX,
the line.
Zach.
Yeah, Zach. Crosses the line, Zach. But anyway, make sure, if you guys haven't done so already, to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use our code of PHNX. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. We talked about Purple Gatorade betraying us. I still don't trust Purple Gatorade as a whole, but MLB bets this season are going to be fun, and the Diamondbacks are going to be a fun team to bet on, not only for the future stuff, right? Like, you can go right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook, bet on Corbin Carroll to win Rookie of the Year, bet on Zach Gallen, the very own Finxer himself, to win Cy Young. So there's all sorts of things you can do to win some money on this team, and of course, make sure to use our code of PHNX when you do so. Also, we know this time of the year, especially here in Arizona, we got events I have events all week long. I'm booked wall to wall with events. But you know what I don't have yet, Jesse? I don't have tickets yet to AEW on Wednesday.
Well, you better not.
No, I better not, because I'm waiting until Wednesday morning. I'm going to hop on the Game Time app, which, as Jesse will attest to, is the most aesthetically pleasing app for buying tickets that you can find. And I'm going to save up to 60%. I might even save more. You know what I mean?
You might.
Some of these aftermarket ticket prices, they're outrageous. So I might save up to 60%. I might get into that building for like $40. I can't wait to find that out. But you can save up to 60% on tickets when you buy your tickets last minute. It's all about us procrastinators rejoicing and getting our time in the sun. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description in our show, and make sure to do so. Save yourself some money and do it all baseball season. Remember, that's an option. Whenever you have those last minute FOMO moments where you want to not miss out on a concert, show, or event, grab the Game Time app. Well, we thank you guys so much for joining us. Of course, we will be back with our updates from camp tomorrow. Big thanks to Saul for showing up.
Well, you didn't really give us a choice.
No, I know. Yeah, he just plopped
we're
in
happy he was here.
Yeah, he made them change the camera and put him on screen.
I asked if they were going to talk about the MVP event, and I wanted to chime in.
We might end up even getting season tickets. That's like we're not above the sales thing. But
like I'm going to go to at least 20 games this year.
For sure.
That's like my goal for the year.
Yeah.
Because I do love going to the ballpark and watching a game and just chilling, drinking, hanging out, right?
Yeah.
But there's some things that we can do to make this a better experience for everybody, D-backs, and that's all we're trying to do. Help me help you.
I don't even think the D-backs internally would disagree with you, to be honest. But there are some things there that definitely could use, like Saul said, use being a little bit more premium of an attraction, something to get us in there a little bit more. But we appreciate you guys for being here. Of course, you can follow us all on Twitter. I am at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Saul is at Saul_Bookman. Our show is at PHNX_D-backs. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Appreciate you guys as always. Thank you so much, diehards and non-diehards. We appreciate you being here. On behalf of all of these guys, we thank you for your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll.